Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to the overnight feed recap for night number 15 of Big Brother Season 26. We now have had our second eviction. Yeah, I'm sure y'all watched the live episode last night. We lost Lisa. We're down to 14 house guests. Well, 15 if you count Ainsley. We lost Lisa. Her personality just didn't jibe with everyone else. But also, once you were identified as a target in that house early in the season, it just becomes easy for everyone else to pile on that philosophy of, hey, as long as the target isn't me, I'm fine with whoever it is. I think it was a combination of the two. Lisa just not vibing with the rest for whatever reason, and then just people piling on. Feel a little sorry for her. I would have been curious to see how she took the rest of the game on, but we've lost Lisa. We are down now to 14 people. Let's see what happens, because we do have a new HOH. Yes, it was not a live competition. We have not seen it yet, but the feeds did come back, and the new HOH for the upcoming week is Cedric. Cedric, the youngest house guest in the house this year, won HOH competition. We will see how that works out. Apparently, it was a somewhat physical competition. Involved maybe balancing, walking across beams. There were comments made throughout the evening of people saying, oh, I fell off. There was also apparently, Rubina had mentioned at one point, it was fun watching the other people. So apparently it maybe was a one at a time type competition. Maybe it sounds like a timed type deal that others got to watch. Definitely physical. MJ had a cut on her hand from it. So yeah, we'll hear more as we go on. But Cedric has won the HOH competition. So now we got to see who he's going to put up. My thinking is, and we'll cover it as we go through the evening, my thinking is his HOH would be very similar to Chelsea's, about not wanting to get a lot of blood on his hands. Yeah, Lisa's gone this week, and Angela seemed very, very happy that everyone was willing to give her a chance and everything else, and that they love her after all. I think Angela may not fully comprehend just yet that it was just an either or situation. Lisa's gone last week. Now, Angela, it's your turn on the block. I think because of that, Cedric's probably looking that direction. Let's not make a lot of waves. Let's just keep the blood off our hands. Let's go for the easy house guest choice. And we had some conversations on that. Now, we had a lot of conversations. So because of that, I'm going to be talking pretty quickly as I go through this stuff. So bear with me. All right. Feeds came back on after the East Coast episode. We learned that several house guests have food poisoning, apparently. Not blaming it on any particular chef, because we don't know, but apparently several house guests weren't feeling so intestinally perfect, to the point that they were trying to keep the bathroom door open to kind of let it air out and all that. Doesn't Big Brother, playing the game of Big Brother, sound like a lot of fun to you guys? Yeah, the HOH room was shut down, so only one bathroom available, and apparently it was being used quite a bit. So yeah, fun times in the Big Brother house. Probably a good thing they didn't have a wall competition or something like that. It was a long extended type comp, but we did have that mentioned. Eventually the feeds, we also had one quick little conversation before the feeds went down for HOH. We had Chelsea talking to Cedric, saying, look, MJ and Leah are pretty tight. I don't really trust them. She says, but at the same time, you, Cedric, you and me, we're on their list, but we're probably not high on their list of who to boot out. So just keep that in mind. And we need to keep that in mind now that we know that Cedric's won the HOH. All right, it does sound like it was an HOH that everyone, at least to start with, was potentially gunning for. I didn't hear a lot of conversation about people throwing it like we've seen in past seasons. So it seems like a lot of people wanted to win this particular HOH. All right, feeds went down for about 2 hours or so. They finally came back around 10:30 Big Brother time. We see Cedric with the HOH key. Again, it seems like the comp involved physical of some sort, balance perhaps. Kenny apparently did well. For as much as Kenny's griping about he's just ready to go and all that, he keeps just coming so close on some of these competitions. Came in second place on this particular comp. Others noticed that he did well. Sometimes it's worse to come in second than to come in a lot lower. because it's only going to identify you as a little bit more of a target. In Kenny's case, if he wants to go home, it may not matter anyway, but he came in second, apparently did pretty well. All right, before even getting his HOH room for the evening, Cedric went upstairs to the lounge room, said, look, I'm doing one-on-ones. Anyone who wants to come visit with me, just come on up. First person to come up, Mackenzie, MJ. Not a huge surprise. We're starting to see Mackenzie's strategy over these first few weeks. Stay tight with whoever's the HOH. She certainly stayed tight with Chelsea last week. She's the first one up to talk to Cedric this week. I think Cedric is the one that immediately says, look, Angela's obvious. The other two, who knows who I'm going to put them up, but Angela's the obvious pick. MJ is telling Cedric that she's got the power. She finally starting to reveal to a few more people. She says, I told Chelsea that I'm not telling everyone because it doesn't affect everyone. And yeah, you can understand why I wouldn't tell everyone, but I told Chelsea last week. I'm telling you this week, Cedric, that I've got the power. Now, she's not real accurate in describing the power. She says that she can pull herself off the block this week, and the last week that the power is valid, which is week 4, at that point, then she can pull anyone off the block. No mention that America then renominates someone else. And also, I'm not sure she's correct in implying that she can only pull herself off the block as opposed to anyone when she wants to. So she's not completely accurate. I expect that Big Brother may call her into the diary room at some point and say, you need to come clean. You need to be a little more specific in what this power is if you're going to discuss it with Cedric. I don't know if it means she'll have to go back and clarify, or if she has any more conversations she'll have to, but she definitely left a bit of information out, which Big Brother may call her on eventually. But she does tell him that she's got the power. And she says, I just want you to know, because if you put me up, I'm just going to pull myself off, and then you'll have to put someone else up, and you don't want to do that. Well, he wouldn't have to. America picks. He would not have any more blood on his hands. But it also, by him not picking, means it could be someone he wouldn't want up as the third nom. So he's got to keep that in mind. But MJ is suggesting as well that, look, I got the power. I think either Quinn or T-Core has the other power. Just keep that in mind, Cedric. She's saying that Cedric is in a good spot because the whole house knows what the agenda is this week, which, again, is target Angela. Cedric is saying that Angela, I think it's his mom or something, but he says Angela has just made too many enemies. She has to go this week. It's just the way it works out. He says that Angela, Kenny, if he offers to go up, and then he isn't sure yet about the third person, but the third person is just going to be a pawn. But definitely Angela, probably Kenny, and then who knows. So that's it for the conversation with MJ. We then have Chelsea coming up, congratulating Cedric. They're both pretty happy about the things, way things have worked out. They talk just a little bit. Chelsea is telling Cedric not to believe a word of what MJ might tell him, that she just doesn't trust MJ. So be careful, Cedric. Cedric is suggesting at this point that he's going to put up Angela, probably Kenny, and then maybe either Rubina or Leah is the third choice. The third, we'll call it a nom, but I really do feel like they're going to be a pawn this week. But sometimes pawns go home. So yeah, he's saying, look, Angela, Kenny, and then either Rubina or Lee. Maybe the other one is a renom if I had to, something like that. Chelsea is pushing Leah of those two, that Leah may be the better choice. I'm sure it has nothing at all to do with the fact that Leah and Cam continue to flirt and be a little tight. And Chelsea's very, very sketched out by the fact that those two hang around together and flirt as much as they do. So she's suggesting that Leah may be a good third pick on these nominations. All right, Kenny is up next with his one-on-one. He doesn't waste any time talking to Cedric and says, look, I'll just put it straight up. I want to go home. Well, just go home. No, don't even go through the votes and all that. Just walk out the door and go home and be done with it, Kenny, if that's your attitude. Just kind of rubbing me the wrong way. Yeah, I miss my family incredibly, horribly while I was in that house. But I never chose to self-evict, and I never asked someone to send me home either. But he says he wants to go home. He tells Cedric that he has no alliance, that he did not like what Angela did to Cedric and Kenny, and that he voted for Angela. He knows he's the only one that did it and all of that, but he just felt like he had to do it. And so he's explaining himself a little bit. Now, they did have an interesting little finish to this conversation. Neither one of them believes what the other one has said. Kenny doesn't really believe that Cedric's a model. Cedric doesn't really believe that Kenny works food trucks. And I think Kenny says something about, I don't really work food trucks. And, I'll tell you what I do for real if you tell me what you do for real. They agree. Kenny tells him that he works as an undercover cop, works for DEA. Cedric says, I actually do a little bit of modeling, but I'm also former Marine, just got out. So these two guys bond over that. If it wasn't for Kenny throwing himself as a tribute up on the block, maybe they could make something happen. I have a feeling these guys would potentially work together based on this shared info, but it may not matter since Kenny's already volunteered to head out the door and get put up on the block. We'll see how it works out. But Kenny has made the offer, and Cedric is certainly going to take him up on that. All right, we've got Chelsea talking to Cam, saying that Cedric had mentioned Rubina as a potential third pick, pawn type pick possibility. Cam's a little surprised to hear that. Cam is thinking that Cedric should probably stay away from MJ, from Mackenzie, since she has her power, and he's worried about that. Cam is also saying that Leah would not be a good sport if she was picked out as a nom to basically be the pawn. Not what Chelsea wants to hear. She doesn't trust Cam's relationship with Leah, and when Cam's sitting there trying to protect Leah from getting nominated, it's only going to make her more sketchy about the whole deal, or more sketched out. So, yeah, Cam's saying Leah just would not handle it well if she's put up on the block this week. Chelsea is suggesting that Joseph maybe could go up as an easy pawn this week, kind of like Tucker did last week. But Cam is saying no, and I think Brooklyn is up there saying no as well, or saying no to Brooklyn as well. I'm not sure what that is, but anyway, yeah, she's throwing at Joseph, and Cam saying, yeah, let's not do that. Chelsea is saying that they need to protect the Pentagon. That's the key this week, is just whoever we put up, let's protect that little alliance. Cam is saying that Angela has to go this week. It doesn't matter who else we put up. Angela needs to go, or else she'll target Chelsea and Cedric and Cam. Would she? I feel like Quinn would be in that mix more so than the three names that Cam has thrown out there. But he's trying to make sure that the target remains on Angela at this point in time. So he's talked about that. Chelsea says, well, Angela's not winning any competition, so it shouldn't be an issue getting her out this week. All right, we've got T-Core and Chemo in the bathroom talking just a little bit. T-Core is saying that MJ didn't talk to Chelsea or Cedric, either one, during week one when they were mascots. But now suddenly that they're HOH, she spent all that time with Chelsea last week. She is going to be spending all her time with Cedric last week. T-Core's kind of got MJ figured out. T-Core a little upset, I think, last week. She wanted to do one-on-ones a couple of times, or have private conversations with Chelsea, and every time she went up there, MJ's hanging around. So T-Core has certainly noticed it, and she's pointing that out to Chemo. All right, we've got Brooklyn and Rubina talking a little bit. Brooklyn doesn't think that they're the targets this week. She said, I really don't think we're going to be the ones that are put up, but they also are agreeing that neither one of them want to be pawns as that third pick. That doesn't work with them either. They're talking about a way to keep that from happening by maybe suggesting that, hey, Joseph isn't going anywhere. He obviously would be a pawn no matter what. So maybe put up Cedric, maybe put up Joseph. That would be safe to do. And the conversation is actually had a little bit later in the evening. All right, we've got, they're saying a better primary target should be Kenny if he wants to go, and then Angela the next week. Everyone's talking about Angela going next week. But these two are talking about saying, well, let's just send Kenny home. If he wants to go, send him out the door, and then we can always get Angela the following week. Yet another week where we have two easy targets that the rest of this house is keying in on. Now, I'll say this. Kenny tells me he wants to go home. He doesn't want to have anything to do with it. That in and of itself is probably enough incentive for me to make sure he does not see the block. Whatever the case, I would not be in a huge hurry to send someone home that doesn't seem to have their head in the game or their spirit in the game, either one. Because why waste your HOH on someone that wants to go home anyway? If it's only about cutting numbers and not making waves, fair enough. But it just seems like it'd be a wasted HOH to send him out at this point when he's so willing to go out anyway. All right, but they're saying that send Kenny out this week. We'll send Angela next week. They're talking about that they both fell in this comp. They said something about, oh yeah, the 30-year-old moms representing this one. Apparently they both fell in the comp, and they're looking at the camera saying, yeah, we threw it. So I said earlier, everyone wanted to win HOH. Once they got there, start seeing who was doing well, who wasn't, maybe not so much. So maybe it was more about making sure certain people didn't win it this week, because they're saying they both threw it. All right, we've got Tucker and Cedric talking on their one-on-one. Tucker is suggesting putting MJ up to expose her power. He says, yeah, I know she's got power, but put her up there, make her use it, force her to use it. He's telling Cedric that MJ lies, and he's telling Cedric more information about this power of MJ, such as that America picks a renom, saying, yeah, she didn't tell you that, but that's part of it as well. So Cedric's realizing that he didn't hear the whole story right now. He's talking about America picks a renom. Tucker is saying that the girls have a huge thing going on. That's why they evicted Matt in week 1. So be careful, Cedric. The girls may have a little bit of alliance that you need to be aware of. Tucker is also saying that he knows who has the other power. He was told that Quinn has it, and he's saying, I know who has the other power, but I'm not going to say. He says, man, I told everyone Lisa had the power. She didn't. Based on that, I know who has the other power now, but I'm not going to say because my track record's not great. So he says, I know who has the other power, but I just can't say right now. He is suggesting for the 3 picks that Cedric's going to make this week, that Cedric ought to consider Angela and Kenny and Mackenzie. So again, he wants to flush that power out, or at least make sure the target's directed away from him and some of his folks. Remember, Tucker and Rubina are a little tight with one another. He may want to be suggesting Mackenzie as a way to keep the focus off of Rubina going up as a third target. It could be. Tucker's saying again that all the girls are in alliance, so just be aware of that, Cedric. Meanwhile, while that's going on, we've got MJ talking to T-Core, saying that the boys have something going on. And as they're looking at the memory wall picks, MJ is suggesting that, maybe us girls need to grab a couple of these guys because they've got something going on. We need to make sure the numbers are where we need them to be. So she's making that suggestion to T-Core. I'm sure T-Core's all over that. She's talked about wanting a female to win such as it is. All right, we've got Cedric and T-Core now talking on their one-on-one, both talking about MJ's power and worrying a little bit about what she would do with that power if she was nominated. If she's not, would she use it next week? Some of that conversation. T-Core, the name Rubina is mentioned again as a possible nomination. T-Core saying, I don't want Rubina to go up. I'm friends with Rubina. I just don't want her to go up. She's talking about Leah or MJ as being a better third nomination and renom. Put one of them up. If one of them comes off or someone comes off, then put the other one up. So T-Core does not want Rubina in. She wants Leah or MJ instead. All right, big news in the house. There will be no have-nots this week. Are we going to have them for the rest of the season? I don't know. My season, we only had them 2 weeks. Maybe we're going to have another season like that. No have-nots this week. And so, there's a lot of people celebrating because of that. All right, we've got Rubina and Cedric talking on their one-on-one. Cedric is saying, look, Angela and Kenny for sure. I've got the first 2. It's that third pick that's the tough one I'm dealing with. Rubina is saying, look, if you don't nominate me this week, then I certainly won't put you up next week if I win HOH. And she says, and beyond that, I'll respect your choices as HOH. No using the veto or anything else. I'll do what you need to do as long as you don't put me up this week. Cedric is kind of him-hawing, hinting around, saying, well, the third pick would definitely be upon Rubina, and that pawn going up could definitely build a lot of trust with the HOH just by volunteering to be a pawn and willing to be a pawn. So, Rubina, for someone, it's going to be a great opportunity. And obviously they aren't going home if they're up against Kenny and Angela. So he's kind of hinting around at that suggestion. Rubina is picking up on that. She's saying, look, whatever you end up deciding, please don't surprise me with it. I just don't want to be surprised at nominations, whatever happens. So kind of let me know if you're going to go something direction. So she's mentioning that. Cedric is saying, look, if you were to go up Rubina, it would only be because we've been in this house 17 days. We haven't talked game at any point during that thing. He says, I don't see you as an option, but if you did go up, that is why. Now, I don't know if he's saying I don't see you as an option to go up as a pawn, or he's saying I don't see you as an option to go home. A little ambiguous about it, but he finishes up by saying I don't see you as an option. But if you were, just to let you know, it's nothing personal. It's just because we haven't talked game. Yeah, Rubina ought to be a little nervous at this point in time. Although there are two huge targets out there. I said it last week, and I guess I'll say it again this week. You don't ever want to be a pawn, but it seems like this would be a decently safe week to be a pawn, except for these powers and BBAI arena and everything else with twists that are going on. All right, we've got Angela and Cedric now talking one-on-one. And I wasn't sure how this is going to go. Angela's the obvious target, but she also was giving Cedric a lot of hugs in the past weekend, and it seems to feel like she's close with Cedric. And Cedric may be feeling a little close to Angela as well. So Angela's in there. She's conceding that she's going out. She's not even begging, don't put me over. She's saying, look, I understand. Yeah, it is what it is. But she wants to try to make sure that she goes up against two good chances. I'm not sure how she phrased it, but basically saying, hey, just make sure I don't go up against two pawns that no one wants out, that I'm just guaranteed. Just give me a chance to compete and maybe save myself again. Someone like, I don't know, Kenny. Yeah, if I'm Angela, I am talking up the fact that Kenny has quit on this game. I'm going to spend the rest of the week. He's going to be in my mouth all day, every day about how he doesn't deserve to be in this house. Forget strategy, forget everything else. We're here because we're passionate, and Kenny needs to go home. That's my strategy if I'm Angela right now. But she's saying, just give me chances with some other people. Angela's saying that she wants to stay more than Kenny. She's also pointing out that Kenny also is obviously stronger than she is. You know, he came in second place again. He's a strong player. As much as he says he doesn't want to be here, sure seems like he continues to fight and compete in these competitions, which I think a lot of people have noticed. So, if you don't get him while you can, there may be a situation somewhere down the road where you can't get him out, no matter what he says. So that is definitely Angela's game plan going forward. Cedric is saying that she is 100% not his target. Not sure I'm buying that, Cedric. Maybe he has decided Kenny needs to go first, but I don't think so. I think he's just stringing her along, but saying, yeah, you're not the target. Yeah, not saying you won't go up, but I'm not saying you're the target either, Angela. All right, Cedric finally gets his HOH room, and we got to watch it. That isn't always the case with the live feed, but we got to watch Cedric get his HOH room. He got a letter from his mom. He got music from Tupac. He got some White Claws. What happened to beers? But yeah, he got some White Claws. I was happy about that. Got a cool purple HOH robe. So yeah, the world is the Cedric and the world are happy right now with him getting the HOH. All right, we've got Joseph and Cedric talking on their one-on-one. Joseph reminding Cedric that he's riding with him in Chelsea, that he's part of him, he's tight with them. So no huge surprises here, Cedric. I'm with you in Chelsea. Cedric is thinking that and suggesting that Leah will come after the guys if she was to win HOH. Again, he's had a few people suggest her as a potential nom. And so he's sounding that out with Joseph, saying, would she come after us if she won HOH? Joseph is responding back saying that he thinks Cam and Leah will continue to be targets. As long as they flirt, as long as they seem so tight with one another, they're going to continue to be targets. So why do we even mess with them at this point in time? He says maybe we should just keep Leah around and not be so in a hurry to even put her up as a pawn at this point. He's saying the same with Tucker. Tucker is going to continue to be a target for certain people. So he's saying if you do put up Leah, just tell her it's because y'all don't talk game. Don't go into any kind of detail. Just say it's because you don't talk game, and see what happens. He's wondering though, if they put up Leah as the third nomination, would MJ use her power to save Leah? Because he sees that the two of them are tight. So they're wondering where MJ's mind is at and would she use it? I personally don't think so. I think Mackenzie's holding on to that power until week 4, until she absolutely knows that it isn't needed to protect herself. So I don't think she would use it to save Leah, especially if she sees Leah on the block alongside Angela and Kenny. MJ's not using the power in that situation, but they brought up the wondering if that would happen or not. Joseph is thinking that Angela or Kenny really need to go this week. I think the house is thinking the same thing. They think that their biggest threats to the big collective alliance, they keep bringing up collective. I just think it's too big to be real alliance. But at least for now, they're thinking the biggest threats to the collective is probably Rubina and Brooklyn. Joseph is worried about T-Core going to the other group, and about her being so eager to protect Rubina as well. That's got him a little nervous also. So a little bit worried about T-Core, a little bit worried about Rubina both also, and we're a little bit worried about Brooklyn. All right, Joseph is saying that no one really knows how close he and Cedric are. He's saying, look, if you want to say bad things about me to other people or whatever, so it doesn't appear that we're close, go for it. Let's try to keep it a secret how close we really are. He's saying everyone thinks that it's me and Quinn, and he said that's not really my guy. You're my guy, Cedric, not Quinn. Joseph is also giving some recommendations to Cedric, saying, look, you won HOH, and that's fine. It's an easy week. Do what you have to do. You won't get blood on your hands. He's saying, but lay low after this. He said, you don't need to win HOH for a while after this. Don't win veto because it doesn't matter that much. He said, people will remember the people who won both the HOH and the veto during their week. So don't do anything that's going to make you a target. Don't worry about this week, but don't do anything that's going to make you a target on down the road by looking too powerful. So he's saying you won HOH, now just sit back and don't do anything more than is necessary. I think it's actually pretty good advice. All right, he's saying as long as you do that, Leah, Cam, and Tucker are going to be the targets. And we got Angela, we've got Kenny. Then after that, we've got Cam and Leah and Tucker. We should be able to get into jury phase without any issues. Just don't go crazy at this point. Don't do more than you need to, Cedric. All right, we've got Cedric and Chemo talking. He says, Chemo, 100%, you're not going up. There's no way you're going up this week. He says, T-Core is not going up either. Y'all two are both safe, and that's just the way it's going to go. He is telling Chemo that he's not going to put up Tucker as a pawn this week. He already did that last week. I'm not going to do it to him again. He says, because of that, y'all aren't going up. Tucker's not going up. He says that really leaves Rubina, Leah, and MJ as my choices for this third nom. He's saying that of all those three, he's probably least connected to Rubina, and she would probably be the easiest choice, except that T-Core doesn't want her up. And so he's kind of worried, maintains a relationship with T-Core as well. And that's the only reason it's not a slam dunk to put Rubina up as a third pick. So he's letting Chemo know that, I'm with y'all and I'm not going to go out of my way to go against what T-Core wants. All right, we've got Leah now talking to Cedric. He's telling Leah, saying, look, I need a pawn. I'm looking for someone to maybe volunteer to build a little trust up with. He's saying Angela is definitely the target. Kenny's the backup. So, hey, pawn's not going anywhere this week, Leah. If there was any interest from your part, Leah says, well, I'm not real keen on being a pawn this week. I appreciate you letting me know, but I'm not real keen on taking that particular position. She says, I think there's a much better choice. And then she doesn't tell us. She doesn't tell him. I don't know. At one point, she hinted around, said, oh, who else was a mascot your first week? And is she suggesting he put up Chelsea as a pawn? I don't know. She never said. She held it close to the vest. She said, yeah, I'm not real keen on doing it. You got a better choice. But then I didn't hear her name come out. So we'll see. All right, we've got Cam and Cedric talking. Cam is suggesting Rubina as a pawn. Again, he wants to protect Leia. What's better way to protect her than to find a better target or another target for that third spot? So he's suggesting Rubina would be great to go up as a pawn. He's saying that, hey, Rubina's in an alliance with T-Core and Chemo. The three of them are together, Cedric, just so you know. So, she'd probably be a good one to put up if you're thinking about it. He says that another pawn choice maybe could be Leah, which is kind of interesting. He does not want Leah to go up. So maybe he's throwing out that to just mislead Cedric a little bit on how tight he is with Leah, or he wants to be with Leah. Because he's saying, I guess she could be a choice as well. But Rubina really would be a great choice if you're looking for opinions. Cedric is saying that he's not going to put up MJ, just doesn't want to do that. He's wondering if maybe Joseph would be willing to be a pawn, since Joseph had talked about them not wanting to look like they were working together. So he actually mentions while talking to Cam, I'll talk to Joseph. Maybe Joseph would be interested in it. Cedric is talking about the possibility that Quinn has the other power. He's starting to hear the whispers about that and everything. He's saying, but if Quinn has the other power, why hadn't he told anyone in the Pentagon? Does that mean that he's not really tight with the Pentagon? That's not his ultimate alliance? Because otherwise, why wouldn't he tell us? So, yeah, Cedric feeling a little uncomfortable that Quinn may have this power and hadn't revealed it to him. Cam is saying, telling Cedric that Angela and Kenny and MJ should probably be the targets, the evictees over the next 3 weeks. Cedric is mentioning that Cedric and Cam and Chelsea and Brooklyn really have the smarts and the positions that they could continue running this game, and the four of them need to stay tight with each other. Cam at the end saying, look, the pawn has to be Rubina. Well, I may have mentioned Leah, but yeah, no, the pawn has to be Rubina this week, Cedric. Cedric is saying he's going to talk to Joseph about volunteering, and if Joseph doesn't do that, then he'll consider Rubina at that point. All right, we've got Quinn. A lot of conversations. Well, we'll get through this quick. We've got Quinn and Cedric talking. Cedric mentioning that there's 3 people that aren't in the collective alliance, and that's Leah and Rubina and MJ. Not talking about Angela and Kenny. Those are already assumed, but other than them, Leah, Rubina, and MJ not in the collective, so that's kind of what he's trying to pick from. Quinn is saying that, look, Rubina, I like Rubina. If she's on the block, I'll help her. I don't really want her to go, but if she's a pawn, so be it. But I'll help her while she's on the block. Quinn is saying that Joe had talked about a big move this week to Quinn. He mentioned that. And Quinn saying, but I said, now, Angela, and it's too early. Angela and Kenny are the way to go this week. Hold the big moves for a little bit later. So he's letting Cedric know that maybe Joseph was looking to do some crazy stuff this week, and he shut that down. All right, we've got Brooklyn and Cedric talking to each other. Cedric is saying that Kenny had said that Cedric is telling Brooklyn that Kenny had said that she was starting an all-girls alliance. Brooklyn laughs it off, says, yeah, the only girl I even like in his house is Rubina. So, yeah, no. But he does mention that to her. Brooklyn is saying that she loves Rubina, but if she has to be a pawn, that's fine also. She says, just like the cookout, Rubina will be my number 1, but she's not. She's expendable when need be, but she'll be my number 1. So if you want to put her up, that's great. But I do like her, so she'll be my partner, but not that close a partner. All right, MJ is back. Everyone's had their one-on-ones. MJ started it. MJ wants to make sure that she finishes up as well. She's like a courtroom attorney. She wants to have the first word and the last word when it comes to things like this. So MJ is back upstairs talking to Cedric. She's asking him, she didn't come up to talk strategy. She just came up because she's wanting to know if she could just possibly get one of his white claws, because she's saying, I'm going to have to sleep next to Angela tonight. And she's worried because Angela snores apparently. So she's saying, if I could just get a white claw from you, just to help me sleep through the evening. So he gives her one, and she thanks him for that. Cedric kind of shuts down the conversation by saying, look, you're not going up, MJ. If that's what you're worried about, you're not going up. So he has let her know that. All right, Brooklyn is talking to Rubina a little bit later. And then later she tells Leah as well, says, look, Kenny apparently said there was an all-girls alliance. He's spreading the word about that. Leah is thinking that Quinn and Chemo and T-Core are together, so she's identifying some alliances as well. Brooklyn is thinking that Kenny and Cam and Tucker and Cedric are together, so she's identified another potential guys alliance. Kenny's not really aligned with anyone, but I can maybe see him working certainly with these guys. But it doesn't matter if you want to go home anyway. All right, we've got Cedric and Joseph talking. Cedric brings up this idea about, hey, you know how you wanted to make it look like we're not working well together? Well, what if I put you up as a pawn? No one would think we're close if that's the case. Isn't that a great idea, Joseph? Joseph, you ready to volunteer? And Joseph says, I'm your guy, Cedric, and we are tight with each other, but I just can't volunteer to be a pawn. I'm not quite to that point. So thanks, but no thanks. And then finally, we've got Joseph and MJ talking together. They're just talking about family, about MJ's game, how she wanted Angela gone, but she didn't want to go against the house, how Lisa would just follow her around everywhere. So they're just, I think these are two that maybe just haven't talked a lot of game before. And so she's just kind of telling him what her life has been like so far and what some of the stresses she was dealing with and all that. And by that time, I think Joseph is the one who got called to the DR room. So shut down that conversation. Something could happen. But anyway, We had that. And with that, lights out at 4:30 or so Big Brother time, 6:40 Houston time. So yeah, it turned into a late evening with a lot of conversations. With all that being said, what's going to happen today? We should have the nomination ceremony. Don't know if it'll be morning, evening, whatever. Sometime today it should happen. Angela's going up. Kenny's going up. I think Rubina is probably target. No, not target. Is nomination number 3. The ultimate target, I think in Cedric's eyes, probably would be Angela, but there could be a lot of people pushing to go after Kenny. Angela will certainly be pushing for that. As of Thursday, depends on what happens with veto competitions, BBAI arena, and all the other things that happen. This and maybe some twists being used. We'll see. I don't think so. Although Quinn could certainly throw a wrinkle in this whole thing using his power, right? I don't think he will because there's too much of a chance it'd be revealed at this point in time. Too many people potentially know about it. So I think it's going to be Angela, Kenny, and probably Rubina on the block with Angela as the primary target. We'll see. Until tomorrow. Oh, also this evening, I'll be doing Cliff Notes. No, it's Friday. It's the weekend. Oh, gosh, I'm thinking ahead. All right. Y'all enjoy y'all's Friday. I will be back tomorrow morning to give y'all the update on what happened with nominations. Until then, thank God it's Friday. Y'all have a great one, guys. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.